This episode is brought to you by Park Power, your friendly local utilities provider in Alberta, offering internet, electricity, and natural gas with low rates, awesome service, and profit sharing with local charities.
I need all of those things, and I'm in Alberta.
Hey!
Picture this.
What a coincidence. In Alberta, you get to choose who to buy your internet, electricity, and natural gas from. Park Power has low overhead, which in turn allows them to offer low competitive rates.
That's what I want. I want low rates. We're all tight for cash.
Yeah, and you're in your first apartment, so seriously, you should be looking at Park Power.
Don't scold me on the ad.
Reach out for a no obligations comparison by emailing estimates at parkpower.ca. If you decide to switch, it's easy. It's really just a change to your billing, and you can feel good knowing that you're helping to give back to our communities with your utilities bills. Learn more at parkpower.ca.
Tell me your dreams over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, 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 bop.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 39 of The Breakfast Dish, this podcast about arts in Alberta that are happening digitally and social distanced. For you people dying for more live art and theater and music and dance that you can't see because we're in stay away from each other times. That's about all I'm going to say in this intro because it's Mother's Day tomorrow. So I'm taking like the rest of today and tomorrow off. And I'm just checking with my son, my co-host here, to find out where my donuts are.
Interesting. All right, listen, I'm going to tell you a Mother's Day secret, Karen. Are you ready? You know that that father has gotten you some surf and turf, some kind of seafood thing tomorrow for dinner.
Yeah, that's for supper. Where's my donuts for breakfast?
Right. So, and again, I'm telling you this as a secret, and you have to act surprised tomorrow. But we had already ordered you a box of Hoopla donuts before you started sending us emails about Hoopla donuts. And I was emailing Dad like, well, but now she's going to think it's only because she emailed us. But we have them. It was just unfortunate that it was the exact brand you emailed us. And I went, I'd already sent him the money. And I was like,
The brand is because it's connected to our own local favorites, Phil and Sebastian Coffee.
Phil and Sabs.
When the pandemic started last year, it was shortly before Mother's Day. And it was like, we hadn't even done takeout yet. We were all still inside cowering under rocks and hiding in our bathtubs. And then it was like, wait, we can get Hoopla donuts delivered?
Father and I did question why you brought those rocks into the house.
And then we had those donuts on Mother's Day last year, and my world changed. I mean, I'm a donut aficionado, but let me tell you, listeners, Hoopla Donuts, Phil and Sebastian Coffee House. What are they called? Roasters?
Yeah.
Coffeers. They're coffeers.
Coffeteers.
Anyway, they've got amazing donuts. A lot of them are vegan. And can I just tell you this? You need to order the churros donut and the creme brulee donut. There is nothing in the world like these two donuts. And that's including Krispy Kreme.
That's the end of the episode. Thank you so much, everybody. This episode has been sponsored by Phil and Sebastian's, and we'll get to something next week. Bye.
Anyway, so we are going to talk about any art that is happening online because of stay away from each other times. What can you do that's far away from each other but still live and interesting and exciting?
Online or digital or socially distanced. Sometimes people figure out a way to do it live.
Yeah, go outside and stand far, far away, and I will talk really, really loud. That's my next play that I'm going to write. But today...
Speaking of playwrights...
Griffin, introduce our fabulous playwright guest today, will you?
Our fabulous playwright guest reminded me of a story recently where she directed me and my class in my first year show of Concord Floral by Jordan Tannehill. And my grandmother on our closing night, I don't remember where we landed, closing night or opening night, gave us a few crisp $100 bills to buy us all pitchers of beer at Garneau Pub. This is what I remember, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mieko Ouchi.
Hello. I remembered that night well. I remember Griffin pulled out a couple of crisp Huns and said, "This is from Grandma."
It was kind of the most mischievous I had ever seen her. She kind of had to be, but she's like, "Go buy them alcohol."
So we had nachos and beers, yeah.
She's lucky having a daughter that doesn't drink. She never has to give me beer money. Mieko Ouchi. I was trying to think the other day when you and I actually met, and I can't.
I think it was at university around 1987, 88.
Maybe, because were you involved at all in 84 Charing Cross Road when Caroline directed it for the Walterdale?
Yes, I was. I was the assistant stage manager.
That's it. That's when we met. You, me, Eleanor Holt.
Yeah.
Caroline Howard.
Yeah. And I was in charge of putting the books back on that wall of books in exactly the right place. And I also typed up all the letters that they sent back and forth to each other. So I would type up, "Dear Fred Flintstone." And then the actors were like, "Mieko, you have to write real letters. Like, we can't read these on stage."
Poor Jen Keane.
Yeah. I'd have like, "Dear Fred Flintstone from Betty Flintstone." And I would have like...
Confirm this for me. Michael Clark ended up playing the office assistant in that.
He did.
But I feel like he replaced who was originally cast, which was Ted Dykstra. Am I right about that?
Oh.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, but I feel
Gosh,
like...
I don't remember that. But he did replace someone, but I don't know who he replaced.
Anyway, blar, blar. That's when we met then. There we go. I would have been just out of college, 87. So it would have been 88. And that's when I met Eleanor Holt as well.
Because that's when I moved from Calgary to Edmonton was 87. I graduated from high school, Western Canada, in June. And then by August, I was living in Edmonton in my own apartment, starting
amazing
the university.
Oh, and look at us now. Look at us now with, glasses. I was trying to say something about like, look at us, we're old, we're in our careers. Not old, but we're established people, and all I came out with was glasses.
Glasses.
To show that time has passed.
And coffee.
And coffees.
The clear sign.
In coffee mugs that are very, mine is about the man I love, Neil Diamond. And Miako's is her coffee mug about the man she really doesn't love in any way.
Right.
It might start with the letters FUC and end with NNEY.
I don't know. That's not true. No, it's just a puppy. It's a puppy.
Yeah, it's a puppy with the bubble gum.
Yeah.
Bubblegum heart candy.
And a hot air balloon. Okay. All right. Down to business. Go, Griffin. I'm busy. It's Mother's Day. I'm relaxing.
Okay, down to business, but I'm busy, so you go. Mieko, you have a new position, not very new, but recently new at the Citadel Theatre, and I'm going to see if I can get it right first swing. Here we go. The TD Associate Artistic Director of the Citadel Theatre.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh yeah, okay. And let me give this the old college try. You used to be the artistic director at Concrete Theatre, but for a long while, but now you are an artistic associate at Concrete Theatre?
Yes, that's correct.
Hachi machi. So we brought you on the show to talk about the Citadel Theatre's recent upcoming project of the Collider Festival, but even a little bit more specifically, a reading performance of your show Burning Mom, which is one of my favorite concepts for a show that I can think of.
Yes, that is happening too. So it's really, it was really exciting when Daryl extended the invitation to my own play as I was helping to organize this. And it was exciting because it was kind of unusual because it's a one-person show and the focus of Collider is on large-scale work, and you would kind of imagine that a one-person show might not be a large-scale work. Yeah. But the way that I'm imagining this play happening, I'm planning for it to happen, is that it is a large-scale work, like meant for big stages.
I have so many guesses of why it might be considered large scale, but before we get into it, why don't you get it? Yeah, you're kind of touching on it, but the meat and the potatoes of the Collider Fest.
Yeah, so this is the very first Collider Fest ever. It was going to premiere last year, but of course, in April.
I was eating donuts and I couldn't come, so it was canceled.
Yeah, of course, we were all hiding in our bathtubs and we ended up having to postpone. And so this new online version has ended up being our first inaugural Collider Festival. But the focus of the festival is on large-scale work. And one of the reasons that Daryl and Rachel originally envisioned it, and I've jumped on board to help support, is that there isn't a lot of focus across the country in terms of new play development necessarily on large-scale work. And having written a play, The Silver Arrow, for the Citadel, there were definitely some unique challenges that I encountered as a playwright, moving from working in more usual smaller spaces, that I thought, wow, it would have been great to have had just a little bit more experience or education or knowledge about this before I leapt in. And talking to other playwrights who've also worked in different size spaces, they've said that as well. So I thought, wow, this is a great chance for us to support this work. I'm also running a dramaturgy lab focused on large scale work to talk about how do we support these plays.
So it's not necessarily like to work to bring the large scale productions down to a smaller scale, but
no. And these shows are all really different. Like I said, like some of the shows that we've got at Collider, we're doing this really hilarious TikTok preview of Prison Dancer, which is a massive musical in development, and it's going to take a while for this musical to develop because it's really it's incredible, but it involves a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
So everything from Prison Dancer all the way down to my one-person show. And all of those shows are really envisioned for bigger spaces, larger audiences. Just sometimes it's production, sometimes it's number of people, sometimes it's the size of the design, all different reasons. Yeah.
Can I ask who wrote Prison Dancer TikTok musical?
Oh, well, the whole musical is not a TikTok video.
It's not a TikTok musical.
Oh, sorry. I thought, see, they're bringing like social media to...
This kind of explores the stories of TikTok influencers that committed federal crimes.
But Prison Dancers by Romeo Candide, in Toronto. The preview is a really cute TikTok video.
So Prison Dancer, all the way down to your show, which I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess that it has to be a large scale production because they're going to... Am I right?
We might.
So cool.
Did I give anything away?
Yeah, maybe don't talk about that.
Okay.
We'll cut that out.
But we do have to get into Burning Mom.
Fair.
If you want to talk about Burning Mom.
Fair, yeah. Okay, well, Burning Mom, I mean, the roots of Burning Mom are really tragic and sad because it was, the story is really about my own mother, Dorothy, and what happened to us as a family the year after my dad passed away. And we were just devastated when my dad passed away. It was very sudden, a pancreatic cancer. We were not prepared. We didn't really have a lot of time to wrap our heads around what was happening to us. And my mom was just devastated. And I remember it was about a year after, and things had the clouds had finally started to lift a little bit. And she called us all into the family room and she said, I have something to tell you. And we were like, what is happening? I was so nervous about what she was going to say because she seemed so serious. And she said, I think we should go on a family trip because we've had such a traumatic year. And I honestly, the first thing I thought of was like an all-inclusive in Mexico with like 2 pina coladas in my hands because I was like, oh, just like to let go of all that stress and to like finally just like relax and let go of that year would be such a miracle. And my brothers, I think, were having like pretty similar dreams of their own. And then my mom said, I think we should go to Burning Man. And I kind of just fell off the couch. I was like, what are you talking about? But she was absolutely sincere. It was not a joke. She had been harboring this dream for a while. It had come to her, I think, in a campground, as she tells it, where she got this dream. And it related back to my brother had gone to Burning Man once, my youngest brother. And after he came back and sort of regaled my parents with stories about his experience, that night my dad apparently said to my mom, hey, one day we should go to Burning Man. And my mom was like, that's bananas. We're not going to Burning Man. And she kind of like laughed about it and kind of blew off this crazy last minute idea he had before he went to sleep. But, here we were years later, she'd started to think about that and it started to become a bit of an obsession of hers. And so it just became this thing that she wanted to do and to kind of achieve, in this year of kind of finding herself again. And it was also related to a 26-foot long RV, which my parents had purchased just before my dad passed away. And they had all these dreams about traveling in the RV and retirement and doing all these things. And when we had sort of gently broached the subject of like, maybe we should sell the RV because it's gigantic. it requires two people to drive and manage.
Right.
She was like, she really panicked and said, no, I'm not selling the RV. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. I didn't realize, I was just trying to be practical. And so what we didn't know is that secretly she had been learning to drive the RV.
Oh my God.
So she, I don't want to give away the whole story, but she enlisted the help of some security guards in a parking lot at a mall. And she learned to drive.
I love her. I love her so much. I can't even tell you.
Yeah. So the story is that, she ended up through a whole bunch of different things. She ended up going to Burning Man. And so the play is really, I would say 97.5% real.
Okay.
And that other tiny percentage is what I've made up. And I really defy anyone to figure out what it is I've made up and what is real, because it's not what you think.
Yeah, because immediately I go, right, mall security guard, this is a plot device. But if that's part of the real stuff,
not at all.
I'm lost. I'm gone.
And it's been so amazing to work on the play, because it was a pretty delicate subject to broach to my mom to say, could I write about this time in your life? And could I share your story? And I think, I was so moved by her enthusiasm, because she said, if what I've experienced can help anyone else, then go for it. It's such a hard thing to go through. And if my story can help anybody else, then do it. And she said, and if it's not exciting enough, you can add things. That's also what she told me. But I didn't really have to add very much, because she had some really hilarious adventures. So so it was originally kind of started by David Yee at FUJEN Asian Canadian Theatre in Toronto. And he had a project called Walk the Walk, which was trying to get regional theaters to support Asian Canadian women writers. And so he ended up connecting me up with the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, RMTC, and Workshop West was originally involved. And so the three of them kind of hatched some money and support for me to start working on this play. So it was supposed to premiere, I guess, right about now. It would be ending its run in Winnipeg, but it's been pushed forward, and we're still trying to figure out where it's going to land, of course, because all the planes are trying to land on the runway, right, at all these theaters, and we're trying to line everything up. So we'll see, but it's in the next 2 years it will premiere. But it was really cool, in Toronto, that when I first started writing it, I went out and stayed in an Airbnb for 2 weeks and just wrote, and then we shared about 45 minutes of my writing interspersed with me sort of talking about what happened next. And we had a sold out reading, and people were in tears. And I was like, because I had no idea what the reaction was going to be. Zero idea. I'd just been alone in my Airbnb, writing by myself. And it was so moving to feel their reaction. And Candy Palmater had taken over Q on CBC Radio. Yeah. And she had asked me to come on. And it turned out the reason she asked me to come on is that she'd always wanted to go to Burning Man, and she was intrigued by the little promo about it. And we ended up talking for about 30 minutes. And the reaction from that interview was unbelievable. People wrote into CBC. They emailed my mom. They found her at the Y in Calgary, where she volunteers, and went, I heard about your story on CBC Radio. They tracked me down. And so many people said, your mom's story is I relate to it. This happened to me, or, I was going through grief and I've been looking for something to kind of help pull me back to life in a way. And your mom's story is really, just inspired me. And it was unbelievable, the people that reached out. So I was like, I'm on to something. I just have to keep writing and, keep making sure that my mom's okay with me sharing all these hilarious but very personal details. And she's been such a good sport about it. So yeah, it's grown into a really beautiful, kind of cathartic piece to write, because I'm writing the character of my mom who's talking about my dad and our family, but it's a hopeful story, even though it's about a sad time in our lives. I think it's really about finding your way back to your life and finding hope again which is something we all need coming out of COVID. I think
I'm climbing out of my bathtub to focus on Burning Mom.
I'm bringing these boulders out of my living room.
I have to ask, did she end up going on her own or did you, the kids go with?
Yeah, so it turned out like I was directing a show because it's in September, so I couldn't go. And my other brother at the time was working at a bank, and he's like, I can't just leave the bank and say, I'm going to go to a, art festival in the desert for 2 weeks. Peace out,
Peace out, cool cats.
So my youngest brother ended up going with her. He was able to go. And so it's really about them and the people they met along the way. But she's still gunning for a return trip with the whole family.
Oh, she has to.
Yeah.
Because it's a sequel now.
Exactly. So we started calling her kind of Burning Mom after she went because we thought it was so hilarious.
All right. So since you have experienced your mother harboring this plan and hatching this plan, is there any event in your life that you are secretly now harboring a want to go to? Is there anything that pops in your mind immediately?
Oh, I don't know if I have anything like that my mom has right now.
That's okay. It comes in the years.
Yeah, I think it's going to come with age. I think it comes with age.
Right.
Griffin Cork, you need to know this. Your father, Kevin Cork, has, since I've met him 29 years ago, wanted to go to Burning Man. I have no desire.
I think you'd have fun, Mom. Tell me what you think your impression of Burning Man is. What do you think Burning Man is?
I think it's a bunch of hippies smoking dope.
I knew it. I knew that's what you would think. And they're all on welfare and Woodstock, and they're dodging the war.
No, but then also my fabulous massage therapist in Calgary, Sean Klassen, everybody, Sean Klassen, he goes every year.
All right, and that's the end of the episode. Thanks, everybody. This was hosted by Sean Klassen, Massage Therapy.
He goes every year with his husband, and they, like, what I understand is you can kind of set up a shop or something. Like, I'm sitting here in a tent and I'm providing a service or whatever. So he provides massage, and his husband, I think, makes these amazing cooking, like rock, solid slate, hot plate kind of things. Yeah. Anyway, is that the idea? Like you just go and do art in a tent and listen to music?
It's an art festival, but there's no commerce allowed. So you can't sell anything and you can't buy anything. And the idea is that you give things away. And so you're supposed to take things to give. So my mom hand painted over 100 little artist trading cards, and they're hand painted little mini paintings.
Wow.
And she gave those away, and other people will set up a bar and just give out free drinks, or they'll give roller skating lessons or anything. Yeah. Or massage therapy for free, but it all has to be for free. There's no commerce allowed.
So could I go and set up a table for like Scrabble tutorials if you just want to learn how to play Scrabble?
Yes.
Or
exactly.
Here's all my Neil Diamond albums. Let's listen to them and talk about them song by song by song.
But nobody take them. I'll chase you down the desert.
Absolutely. You could probably do a small workshop series, and that would be presented. That'd be fine. And then people also build like pieces of art, like installations that are like massive out in the desert, or art cars. So these kind of fantastical vehicles that you'd see in like Mad Max.
Wow.
And they drive them around, and everybody's on bicycles because it's so large. So my mom had to learn how to ride a bike again.
Wow.
And take a bike probably meant for about a 9-year-old girl, which she called Dazzle. Had a lot of very girly accoutrements on it. And so she took Dazzle to Burning Man and learned how to ride it and rode it around in the desert. And everyone's wearing costumes. So my mom built her own costumes too.
What? Hold on. What was your mother's costume?
Oh, well, she made 6 tutus. Because she was working at Fabricland at the time. So, like, of course you're going to make tutus, right? And she had hula skirts. She had all kinds of different costumes. She
has to go back and do it again. Because you have to write the sequel, and it has to be called 6 Tutus.
Yeah, because they had Tutu Tuesdays with her group, and so they'd all wear tutus on Tuesdays.
I want to be your mom so bad. I like
she's
life goals
amazing.
now.
I know. That's what people say to me, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, pretty much my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was sort of the launch of a lot of amazing things in her life. It just kind of opened up this sort of adventuring spirit in her that was alive when my dad was here, of course, but it kind of unleashed a different part of her that was about scaring the pants off herself.
Oh, I love it.
because she kind of experienced it and she was like, I want to keep doing this. So she climbed Machu Picchu.
What?
Wow.
And then she floated down the Mekong River in a boat. And then she went to Africa and she stayed in like those kind of hotels where you're up in a tree and like lions are underneath you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's totally up for it. She's just like, she's had like some really wild adventures. And she's done most of those trips by herself, like with a adventure traveling group, but like not with any of us, but, you know, with strangers.
My mom is also very hilarious and outgoing and stuff. And Griffin just filmed a documentary about her, and now you need to turn Burning Mom into a film. I'll cut that out if you're already planning on that, but that has to be a film. But anyway, her thing is, I'll go roller skating when I'm 75 and learn to play the theremin. She's not quite as adventurous, I don't think, as your mom.
Wait, doesn't Oma want to skydive when she turns 80?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Let's pretend that I didn't. Nothing. It's fine, nothing. I have to call Oma. I'm in big trouble.
For her 70th, what she wanted to do was come to Halifax. For her 75th, we took her to Vegas to see Cirque du Soleil and some naked guys. That's the most of the adventure.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Were those the Australian strippers? The Thunder Down Under or whatever it was called?
We went to actually the Chippendales.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so your mom goes to Burning Man and makes tutus and rides a bike called Dazzle. And
Machu Picchu.
And my mom goes to Vegas and shoots a machine gun and puts her arms on the chest of oily naked men.
Hey, whatever, you know, it takes, right? Well, you know, when I met your mom, Karen, I felt like she was a total kindred spirit to my mom. Like
they would get along so well.
Yes, they love sewing.
Why haven't we done this before?
I know, they have to hang out.
They have to hang out.
Oh yeah, they're total like spiritual sisters for sure. Like right now, my mom's obsessed with knitting. She calls them, what does she call them? Wristers. Which are like, you know, like mittens without the fingers.
My mom knits those all the time.
My mom started knitting them because she got this book about knitting in like the East Coast, like kind of like East Coast knitting styles. And she goes, I'm going to make you a pair. And I said, oh, great. And then she goes, I kind of went crazy because I like knitting them and you've got like 9 coming. And I'm like, it's May. It's almost summer.
That's too many.
Like, what do I need 9?
I have like 5 pairs of those. I have 5 pairs of socks. Mom's favorite thing to do is knit socks with sort of the same wool and pattern, but she'll knit like 50 of them. And that way you never have to find out if they match.
Right. And she made Kim like a Pac-Man hat. Recently, she knit him a Pac-Man hat. And she made masks too. Not as many as your mom, as Oma. Oh my gosh, not as many as Sandy. But she made them for all of her the group that went to Burning Man. So they are all in like the electronic music scene, and they all have Dorothy Ouchi masks.
Please tell me it says Burning Mask.
I don't think she wrote anything on them. They're just like, you know, nice fabric and tasteful.
Missed comedy opportunity.
Hey, you leave Dorothy alone. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. This episode is sponsored by Fabricland. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, I have only met your mom on a couple occasions because Concrete Theater has that beautiful program. Hey, listeners, Concrete Theater has this amazing program where they're amplifying Canadian playwrights. So listen to this. Can I talk about Concrete when we're supposed to be talking about Collider?
Sure.
We've talked about everything.
Yeah.
We just spent 20 minutes on Burning Man.
They have this fantastic program where they have a library of brand new Canadian plays for sale. So if there isn't a theater books in your world, which in a lot of places there aren't, and we have a couple of independent bookstores that are really supportive of Canadian playwrights, but just call Concrete Theater and go, hi, do you by any chance have a Connie Massing or a David Yee or a Jordan Tannehill? And the money goes to the playwright and also Concrete Theater. They have a couple Mieko Ouchi plays too, I believe.
When actually, we're going to be setting up the Concrete Theater pop-up theater book table virtually at Collider. So we're going to be putting the link into the chat boxes, and at intermission, the link will come up and it takes you to our website. And we've got a list of all the titles that we have in stock. And if you're, you know, in Edmonton, you can pick them up curbside, or we can arrange to get them to you in within Alberta, we could arrange to get them to you at least.
In Calgary, you can pick them up curbside because as the
That's
Calgary
great.
rep, if you're ever looking for a Canadian playwright, you guys, it's in my office.
Yeah.
Phone me, tell me, I'll tell you how much it is, and we'll do the bin drop on my front porch.
And we've got a list on the website where you can check out the entire stock that
Yeah.
we have in. So yeah, we've got 250 books, a box of them coming to us from Playwrights Canada Press this week.
Awesome.
Brand new titles. There's a whole bunch of brand new titles. So that's really exciting.
I have a gigantic bookshelf, full of Canadian plays. Uncracked, unopened, new smelling. Phone me, people. Email me.
Speaking of brand new Canadian play titles, Mieko, do you want to give us a quick rundown of the rest of the lineup at Collider? And I think I know one. It's Erin Shields' Jane Eyre.
It is.
Woo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really amazing lineup. So we're starting on Wednesday, May 12th with a keynote speech by Sherry J. Yoon from Boca del Lupo Theatre in Vancouver. She's an incredible director, nurturer of new plays, of immersive arts, and she's the founder of the 3.7 Initiative, the original program in Vancouver. And she's going to be talking to us about sort of nurturing that creative spark through large-scale process, how to keep the heart of the story alive. That night, we're going to follow it up by a reading of A Distinct Society by Karim Fahmy, who is a Lebanese-Canadian playwright who's now living in New York, and he's written this really fantastic play about a library that's on the border between the U.S. and Canada that becomes a meeting place of people who are separated by the Muslim ban. So really fantastic play. Thursday, we're launching into Almost a Full Moon, an incredible collaboration between Charlotte Colby-Coleman, who was just nominated for a GG a few days ago, and Hawksley Workman, who I got to work with on The Silver Arrow. They're an amazing pair, and they're Charlotte's crafted a story that accompanies Hawksley's really beloved Christmas album, Almost a Full Moon, sort of intersecting stories. It's a really beautiful and moving show. And I listened to the read-through, sing-through on Monday of last week, and I'm so excited to see this reach audiences. Friday is Jane Eyre, the adaptation by Erin Shields. Incredible. This is going to be premiering hopefully this next year, if all goes well. It was supposed to be last year, so we're really hoping it'll happen this year. Jane Eyre is obviously a beloved story, but Erin is an incredible adapter of epic stories. She's adapted the Greeks. She's, so I think that's going to be great. Saturday at 2 is Burning Mom. If you want to share in our story, it's going to be read by Nicola Lipman, who lots of folks will know. She's a powerhouse. She's an amazing collaborator. And it's been really cool to see her inhabit my mom.
I bet.
And play my mom. Saturday night is The Fiancé by Holly Lewis. Oh my gosh, The Fiancé is so darling. It's a hilarious feminist farce. It's a door slamming, missing, people by the hair of your teeth farce. And it's set in Edmonton, the end of World War II. And it's just delightful. And we need comedy right now. I really felt it reading the play, just how hungry my heart was for such a charming, topical but hilarious piece, and I think audiences will really enjoy that. Sunday, we're going to be having readings from the Punctuate Theatre Playwrights Unit. We've got excerpts from 10 plays, headed up by Matt McKenzie, and a really diverse group of playwrights, so you kind of get a taste and a look into 10 plays in development. And then we're closing out Sunday with a reading of Paris, Saskatchewan by Kenneth T. Williams, and Ken's an amazing playwright. It's a really fantastic script. It's kind of part murder mystery, set in a struggling community. And there's this mysterious character of a jingle dancer who floats through the play, kind of connecting everybody in a really heart-stopping way at the end. And it's going to be presented in partnership with Script Salon. And we're really excited to bring the Script Salon audience over to the Citadel as well. And then we've got 2 little workshops, a playwriting through adaptation workshop that Aaron Shields is running, and then a really amazing workshop by Michael Rubinoff around developing new Canadian musicals. And he is the Tony Award nominated producer for Come From Away. So if there's anyone who can tell us how to produce a Canadian musical, it is Michael Rubinoff. And he's just, we're so lucky to have Aaron and Michael coming in to teach these workshops because they're both so talented and just kind and open too. So if you want to come and join us for those, that would be fantastic. That's it. That's the lineup.
My head, I have to write things down because my head right now is filled with like 9 or 10 names of emerging playwrights that I know that I'm like, your play you're working on needs to hear that workshop and your play needs to hear that workshop.
Well, hey, while we're in the flow of it, Mieko, do you want to tell people how they can check out the Collider Fest?
Sure. If you go to the Citadel website, there's a whole page on there for Collider that will give you information about all the different shows with more detail and the workshops. And then you can click on a registration link and it takes you into a page where you can just click off which shows you'd like. You hit send and then you get some confirmation Zoom link sent back to you. So it's a really seamless process. We've had over 240 people register for readings already. So it's
cool.
There's going to be some big readings.
Did we talk about price already?
It's free.
It's all free.
Yeah.
Wow.
And really we're able to offer it for free because of a really generous grant from the Edmonton Arts Council. So huge thanks to them. But yeah, we're very grateful for that because it just, I think in these tough times, it's like, it's so nice to be able to offer something that's accessible and able to welcome everybody in. And we've seen incredible uptake so far. So it's great.
It's time for me just quickly to thank the real people we need to thank. And that is that the Breakfast Dish is part of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear is by Alexandra Kalman. All graphic design for the Breakfast Dish has been done by Morgan Ermter. And speaking of Morgan Ermter, the Breakfast Dish has been nominated for 2 Canadian Podcast Awards, one of them being Outstanding Artwork for a Series, so that goes to Morgan Ermter. The other one is Outstanding Art Series. The unfortunate part is you can only vote if you have a Canadian podcast, so if you have one, go vote for us, or your friends. You should check it out. They have a huge directory of amazing Canadian podcasts. It's the Canadian Podcast Awards. Go check them out. Karen, what's coming up?
We've had a past guest on our show, Savannah Harvey, who is presenting on May 25th at 7:30 p.m. online, the Interaction Design for Digital and Hybrid Performance. It's a live show. So it was scheduled for May 11th. It's now been moved to May 25th. Join artist in residence and interdisciplinary artist Savannah Harvey online from her studio at C-Space for a live show presentation, demo, and Q&A on digital dramaturgy and designing, writing, devising for interaction. She's the smartest person I've ever met.
Savannah can do pretty much anything that I can think of, and any artists out there looking for tax help, she gives you a whole bunch of videos on some tax deduction options.
And she knows all about space, too. Dancers Studio West on Friday, May 14th is presenting Quick and Dirty, a festival of emerging artists and ideas. Once again, this is an online event. These urgent films originate and emerge from inquiries of imagination, time, gender, culture, and more. Lots of great artists. Tickets are $15 for a person, $30 for a household. There's also pay what you can options. And you go to www.eventbrite.ca/quick Dirty, a festival of emerging artists and ideas tickets, and all those words have hyphens in between them. And finally, can we talk about Sprouts Festival? Because I did the Sprouts Festival once and I want to die about how great it is. Okay,
yeah.
Good. Hey, pitch it. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, I'm at a producer desk and I have a cigar. Go.
All right, I'm going to throw a pitch out here for all of you to come and check out the Sprouts New Play Festival for Kids. This is going to be, I believe, our 19th Sprouts Festival.
Wow.
I
That's
know.
a lot of festivals.
And it's going to be happening on May 22nd and 23rd, and it's going to be all online this year. So digital performances at 2 p.m. on the Saturday and the Sunday. It's the same show, but you can, the same 3 plays, but you can check it out either of the days. And we've got plays by Patricia Sarah called The Color Keeper, a play called Wag by Mika Laulanen in Vancouver, and a new play called The Enchantment by Marissa Kachansky and Dave Clark. And this year it's going to be headed up by the 2 brilliant folks who took over my position at Concrete Theatre as co-artistic directors, Tracy Carroll and Corbin Kushnerek. Tracy is doing the dramaturgy, Corbin is directing, and it's going to be just a wonderful kind of fun family event, anywhere from like newborns to 12-year-olds. Come and check it out. Totally family friendly.
It sounds pretty beneficial to young audiences.
Yes, it is.
Mieko, thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast Dish. Before we let you go, there is one thing we like to do to end the episodes of The Breakfast Dish, and that is Karen will make up a question to ask you, and you can just answer honestly, gut reaction. She's a professional improviser, so it usually has something to do with what we talked about, but not always. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Dorothy is back at Burning Man. The first play is Burning Mom. The second play is 6 Tutus. The third play in the trilogy is the story about her getting on Dazzle and riding around, providing breakfast for everyone there. What is she cooking for breakfast from her bicycle?
Waffles.
Mieko just looked at me like, you idiot. Of course,
Why
waffles.
My mom loves making waffles. I don't know. She'd find a way to do it with some sort of a solar panel or something.
She would.
Or it's so hot there. She could probably just do it right there just from like the sun power.
Oh, a tutu-wearing Dorothy making waffles on a kid's bike.
I cannot believe you said Burning Man was hippies smoking dope. This episode is sponsored by ATB. Mom, what does ATB stand for?
Alberta Treasury Branch. Next question.
Okay. Do you know the name of their campaign?
Bill to help Albertans. Next question.
That's right. And speaking of questions, they're there to answer your questions that are commonly asked by Albertans in these tough times. Karen, what's a commonly asked question that you never get an answer to?
Why doesn't Neil Diamond love me?
Perfect. ATB, you better get on it. In 1938, they were opened. They provide supports for Albertans during these hard times. Like when Karen asks you a question, you have to let her down easy. But ATB is still there to support Albertans through the bad and the good.
Everyone thinks Neil Diamond's old. ATB is older than Neil Diamond.
That's right. We're dropping actual facts here. But they're also here to help Albertans because it's a downturn. People are slowly recovering and it's not quite over, but they're built to help Albertans. So they're going to rebuild and we're going to find a new normal. And ATB's going to give you a call and tell you about Neil Diamond.
You should get an account there.
I have one. I have a debit.
I've raised you well. Good for me.
Yeah.
This has been The Breakfast Dish.